attention to the pecs at the start of the movement. Notice also that I pull the handles to the front of the groin instead of in front of the chest. The motion is like doing a crab pose. When you pull the handles in front of the groin, you're following the natural movement of the pectorals. Also note how I pause briefly in the contracted position. I'll do 4 sets of 8 to 25 reps on the crossover. The goal is to put as much blood into pecs as possible and end my chest workout with a maximum pump. Pick me up. We finished chest. We had a great chest workout. And now we're going to shoulders. Because we're going to start off with some front barbell Smith machine presses. And we're going to move on to laterals. And one of the factors that bother me doing chest and shoulders together, when you work chest, you work about 80 to 90% of your deltoids. My philosophy is, you've already forced 80 to 90% of the blood into the deltoids. You've basically worked them. Why not finish the job? One thing that I want to point out, a lot of people tell me that my deltoids are one of my strongest body parts. I have been fortunate enough, even as a young child. I remember joining my first gym at 20 years old, 124 pounds. Believe it or not, I still have deltoids. My primary objective is to be as fully developed all over, with everything being perfectly balanced, everything flowing perfectly as a piece of art. And that's what I am, an artist. So my last set. I'll usually start out with 135, and I'll never go any higher than 2 1/4. Okay, ready?
Here we go.
Okay.
Come on.
I never do behind the neck presses because it's an abnormal movement that puts excess stress on the shoulder joint. Like always, I pyramid my front presses, doing 4 sets of 6 to 20 reps. Take a medium grip, not too wide, come all the way down with a full stretch, and stop at the top before a full lockout.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Can you get the same amount of leg press that you do with squats?
Sure you can. Main thing with every exercise, any exercise could be a mass building movement. I no longer do squats for the simple fact I try to keep my waist small. But if you get in on a leg press and you give it 110%, keep your reps relatively high, and always give it 100%, you'll get just as much out of the leg press as you will the squat.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, take care. You know, as I've said before, I try to be as accessible to people as I can between sets. There's only one thing I usually ask of everyone. Just let me get my set in, and after I'm finished with my set, you can ask me anything you'd like. Next, I move to lateral raises to work the side head of my deltoids. Form is vital in this exercise, so you don't want to go too heavy on these. I do 4 sets of 15 to 20 reps, focusing on getting the contraction at the top. Bring the weight up until it's parallel with the floor and stay in control of the weight. Remember, it's not the quantity of the weight, but the quality of the movement. One of the factors involving it being the best movement, a simple fact, is when you want to accentuate the width of the shoulder versus the size of the waist, you want to add a cap to it. Your presses are fantastic, but this right here, you're able to isolate either the front deltoid, the side deltoid, or the rear deltoid. And doing that, this causes your shoulders to expand. Gives you that round ball, the ball. And that's what I'm trying to grab for, is that ball. So when I stand on stage, not only do I look broader, my waist looks smaller, even though my waist isn't smaller. It's the fact that I've added so much to the cap of the deltoid. A lot of times people will do the movement like this right here and just throw it back. It's a side lateral. Do it as it is. Go straight out to the side. Straight out to the side, okay? If you have to drop down to 15 pounds, drop down to 15 pounds. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to rear deltoids, okay? So many bodybuilders today, both amateur and even some of the pros, they lack in the rear deltoid development. And what I'm going to use is a piece of equipment such as this right here. Instead of doing the regular bent over dumbbell rows, this isolates me. This takes the pressure off my lower lumbar area. Again, people tend to use too much weight on these. You're not doing rows here. You're doing flies. You want to keep the weight out from the body. I warm up, then do 4 sets of 6 to 20 reps. Focus on fully contracting the rear delt at the top. Don't neglect your rear delts. They not only round out your shoulders, they also add impressive depth to your upper body from the rear. We've already finished the front, the side, and the rear deltoid. Now I'm going to finish my shoulder workout off with trapezius work. Now, in off season, since I've been blessed so much with large trapezius muscles, I do them every other shoulder workout. This so happens to be the day that I'm going to do it. And what I'm going to do, and what I like the best, is the dumbbell shrugs. One thing we want to emphasize on, as on later in the video, we'll talk about doing calves. You want a full contraction. And the same thing with trap. A lot of people they'll bring it up and roll it, or they'll bring it up a partial amount and let it back down. Full contraction. Remember, again, I got to emphasize, it's quality, not quantity. That's it. That concludes our trapezius workout, and that's the end of our shoulder workout. So that's workout number 1, chest and shoulders. It's very simple, nothing fancy or complicated, just the basics properly performed. Now it's time for a shower, then home for the post-workout meal, then back tomorrow for back and biceps. See you then. The primary reason every one of us step into the gym to lift weights, I'm sure we admire that certain look of a bodybuilder. But most importantly, we're there to better ourselves and to enhance our own self-esteem. Hey, it's nice to see you again today. We're doing a hard workout. Let me tell you a little bit about my back. 1988, I do the junior nationals. Yeah, I won. I was fortunate enough to win my class and the overall. But let me say something. They told me that my back was very weak. After that point, I said never again. So when I went back to the drawing board, I pulled out some exercises that I knew were going to be the best developers, and I use them. And what I'm going to share with you today is the exercises that made my back what it is today, because I am very proud of my back. So what we're going to do is start off with just a couple of light warm-ups, like I always do. And today we're starting out with crunch pull-downs. I normally never, ever do chins, very rarely. But this is a simulated movement. You can get the same benefit from it, but more of an isolated movement. You don't have to cheat. If you're working out by yourself, you can do it on your own. You don't need a partner. Okay, I'm going into the last set right here. I have to use these straps. Not only does it hold my hands on the bar, I have very little hands. That's something I do have probably the smallest of them in the sport of bodybuilding, hands. So it enables me to do heavier poundages and not cause any problems as far as losing my grip. It's my last set. I'm going to go about 8 or 10 reps. The main thing is just give it 100%. Notice I take a medium grip, not excessively wide, because no matter what you've been told, a wide grip does not widen your lats. The poundage is moderate, a weight I can control and feel. I'll do 2 or 3 warm-ups and then 4 sets of 8 to 25 reps. Wins you. That's why it pays to do cardiovascular work in your off season. Anytime you're working back, put a lot of pressure on your diaphragm, especially when you start doing the bent over movements. And that's what we're going to next, to what I consider the best all-around movements you could ever do for back development, both thickness, width, you name it, it'll do it. Let's go to wide grip rows. Okay, we're to the bent over rows. We're going to do a light warm-up like we always emphasize on. Pat and I both emphasize on it a great deal. My warm-up's usually 135. One thing you want to pay attention to do, you want to arch your back and kneel down. Put a good tuck in your knees, take the stress off your lower back. I'm telling you right now, if you don't implement this into your program, you'll never have a champion back. And in order to beat me, Flex Wheeler, Dorian Yates, all the other guys, Sean Ray, you're going to have that back.